I'm Anna Baskin, the CEO and founder of Hightail.
Well, Anna, usually I'm completely cold on these, but I have to admit, I did get samples and I did go to the website.
Yay!
So and actually, to be honest with you, it was the first time that it timed it out correctly in all of these years. So I'm kind of excited to have this conversation. And I want to give the disclaimer that nothing of what I'm going to say is of a review or anything like that of your product. But I have some awesome things I want to talk to you about that you're doing really good and you're doing differently. And I want to connect right off the bat with you on your website, talking about the glass of wine and things like that. And I'm 3 years sober, and that's how I got in this industry.
Amazing.
So I'm excited to talk to you about coming from a personal standpoint and creating a product that was both for you as well as your consumers.
That's 100% right. So Hightail was born of burnout. I worked in corporate over 20 years, did the strivey thing, got all the promotions, ended up working in private equity, even though I'm a retailer at heart. And I just was working, 69 hours a week, and I didn't get to see my kids. And I would be stressed and I would treat myself, with wine. And then lo and behold, 6 hours of sleep on wine. That just felt like shit all the time. And then I noticed a lot of my friends were drinking less. And I really loved drinking. It just didn't love me back so much now that I'm in my 40s. And so I was looking for alternatives, and I found drinkable hemp. But I didn't see anything that really spoke to me and like the flavor profiles that I enjoy. And also, I'm quite sensitive to THC, and I know a lot of my friends are. And the more I poked around, everybody told me that they buy a 5 milligram gummy in half. So that kind of lands you at 2.5, which they have, of course, but a lot in 8 ounces, which is like a little tiny kid's can, which is what my kids get for sodas, right? I'm a big girl and I want like a whole drink. So yeah, I thought there was a real space in the market to make something for a wine lover who's trying to cut back a little bit that still tastes really indulgent and complex and isn't too powerful, because we have a lot of stuff to do. It's really for moms who are busy and don't want to get off the rocker because they have to go pick up from soccer practice, or they have to make dinner or help with homework, or all the things that we have to do.
It's one of those things that I appreciate all ends of the dosage spectrum, but I really appreciate what's going on in the microdose level and the low dose. And that's the thing that, one of the things is, and again, I still carry alcohol brands, and they've heard me talk about this on the episode. So it's not anything of against alcohol or anything like that, but it's a different presence.
Right.
And that's real. That mentality piece is really the differentiator. And it's not a better or worse. It's what your intention is.
I think it's so interesting that you say that, because as someone that's like re-examining my relationship with alcohol, I couldn't agree more. Like when I have, especially like a second glass of wine, I would say that it changes your presence a lot. You kind of zone out, right? You're like, it's fun, it feels good, but like, am I present with my kids? No. And what I've noticed, I have a hamster brain. I'm really type A. I'm like, go, 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 all the things I need to do. And if I have a Hightail, I just like have a breath, and I just feel calmer and more there. And my son, for example, is really into Minecraft, and he's talking about all this stuff. I'm like, God knows what. And if when I have a little Hightail in me, I just feel so I'm just more curious, I'm like, tell me more about the Ender Dragon. Like, what's going on? So I love that you use that word.
That's exactly the way I feel, and it's those exact scenarios as well. And I'll stick with the gaming part. There's 3 boys in the blended family, and so Minecraft, Roblox, all that stuff, and it's that exact scenario is the truth. Whereas this is not a dig on my parents or the way I was raised, but let's say broad stroking wise, it was when you had something that wasn't of interest of your parents, you were dismissed as a child, and whether by adults or parents or whoever, it's not just parents. And that was not always the case, but it was a majority of what we kind of grew up in. And I have a feeling of it's bigger than the beverage. And my gut feeling is this is an opportunity to really break some generational curses and snap some chains. And I personally have been living that. And that's why I feel so passionate about it with this industry. And I think that with anything, I'm not going to be oblivious to the fact that, if you go drink a 50 milligram and you have a low tolerance, you're going to have the same dismissive detachment of reality experience.
Right.
So nobody's saying that the dosage is completely relevant to your choice of presence in the world.
Yeah.
Just the same as alcohol. If you want to be present in the world, you have one drink. If you want to check out, you go to happy hour and you have 6. Like, it's the same thing.
Rosé versus like a, a big bottle of vodka. I love a martini, but I know what I'm dealing with, right? So I'll drink that over like an hour, and I know if you slam it, you're going to go somewhere different.
And I think too, we got to remember that we all have been indoctrinated into what type of alcohol gets you in what mind space. And it's kind of interesting as I look back in my sobriety and I analyze it from an academic standpoint now, and because I'm still in the industry and I still want to be here, and I'm on both industries. But what it is it's that mindset going into it and that intention. And it's like, well, I don't like tequila because it makes me run around naked in the cornfields. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I don't like bourbon; it makes me angry. Is it really, and this isn't a scientific question, but it's interesting if you think about it. It's like, is it really the chemical compound of that liquor, or is it the mindset that you put into it before you did the consumption? Like, which one, what I mean? Theoretically, for me, the more I look back at it, it was a mindset more than it was the actual chemical compounds that were making that reaction.
That's fascinating. And I love that you kind of called it all one industry, because I think it is. So
it is. We're in the adult beverage industry.
Yes. Hightail to me is not a weed drink, right? They're not like weed drugs. It's just a drink. And it's, to me, what is the difference in a Hightail and a High Noon? Lower calories and feeling less bad. That's it. I mean, it's a delicious, fun drink that you can enjoy as an adult to feel better. And that's it. And it's kind of like, if we think about the examples you just used, is vodka a potato? Is tequila agave? Is, a functional or infused drink, is it marijuana or hemp? No, right? It's like the whole experience of it. It's just a product. And I think we have a long way to go in like evolving away from that. It's not just that traditional view of the world where it's marijuana or alcohol. It's like it's just a drink.
I think from a moderation standpoint, no matter what the product is that you're drinking, everything should be in moderation. But I think the thing that's great about the low dose part, and we're seeing it now in the alcohol industry, we see near beers and the non-alcoholic beers growing, but also we see these dad strength and different things like that are 2.5% ABV.
Yeah,
that type of thing is interesting for me because it allows people to actually, with that intention and that mindset, nobody's going to roll up. You don't roll up to a party in the backyard or the driveway with a 30-pack of the 2.5% ABV and plan on doing a case race. Right. So what it does is the marketing, when you do this in a responsible way and you market your product responsibly for those vices and those adult beverages, you're actually indoctrinating everybody into a great positive thing, which is we don't need to go wild all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite of
being social without like turning up.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit. I want to get into package design and nerd out a little bit later. But first, I want to kind of go back to, I have the opportunity with talking with founders and things like that. And it's one of those things where I've been doing this for 17 years as a solopreneur, 100% owner of my business. And I know all the ins and outs. I've been broke multiple times, all the different scenarios I could tell you, bounce from the top of the rock. But I want to know yours, but I want to go all the way back to like 18, 19-year-old Anna. Where are you geographically and what's going on in your life?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. And I did not know what I wanted to do. My mom and dad, my whole family really were lawyers. And so I knew that you could be a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman. That's it. So I was like, I don't really want it. I don't know what any of that means. So I went to liberal arts school. I went to Wake Forest in North Carolina, which I loved, go Deeps. And I studied communications and sociology there, which is really just like putting math behind human behavior. So that really intrigues me. I've always been a data person. And I'm so intrigued about what makes people tick. So I took that to Deloitte Consulting, and I did consulting in Washington, D.C. for 4 years, and then came over here to Chicago for grad school at Northwestern, where I studied business. And then I went back to Deloitte in the retail practice. So I really fell in love with retail, again, because I want to understand that shopper, like what's she doing and why, and what's in the cart, and why this store and not that store, and how is that share breaking? All of that just really intrigues me, and I love to investigate that. So after Deloitte, I went to Walgreens and worked there for 4 years in customer insights and loyalty. And then I helped them stand up a merchandise planning organization. And that was a bridge too far. It's just like very financial projection-y, which is not my bag as much. And I was recruited away to what was GGP and is now GGP again. It's a retail real estate company that owns malls all over the country. So where are you based?
So I'm based outside of Philadelphia in York, Pennsylvania, and then also a little bit in Berkeley Springs on the Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia.
Okay, very cool.
So I bounce between, and I'll connect with you too on the college part. I was corporate communications and public relations at Drexel University.
Amazing.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think. So you're in the mall industry then.
Yes.
At my high school, one of our board of regents members, I got a scholarship to a boarding school, and that lady was the Simon family, which developed a bunch of those malls across the country and stuff like that.
So like Simon, Brookfield.
Yes.
Westfield are the big ones.
And that was a big wake up to realize how big that industry was when I met her. Yeah.
Oh, it's so fun. I really loved it because again, I was focused on the shopper, but also the retailer then. And so I ran like a think tank internally there, which was so fun just to try to understand what's going on in the industry and how do we future proof it. And then I built like an incubator in there. So I was starting businesses internally to evolve them all forward, which is so fun. But if you've ever been like an entrepreneur, you know it's a short time gig because you're getting great pay and all the security, and you're taking a lot of their money. And they usually don't do it for long. And it doesn't stay core to the business, right? Especially a real estate business. So I didn't want to do traditional real estate. And I didn't like the changes. So I jumped out of the frying pan into the fire and went to Blackstone.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things. I'm really glad I did it because it was such a spectacularly bad fit that it makes you say, what are you doing with your life? Right.
We've all had a couple of those where it's like, it was a waste of time, but it was a lesson for the future, maybe.
Yeah. I was miserable, and I was like, I'm so far afield from where I thrive and what I like. And that really took a lot of my risk aversion away, and in corporate now, they lay off every quarter. It's not how it was, like probably when you started too. When we started, you could work your way up, you become a VP, you get a parking space, you go golfing, you have this big team. This is what we were promised, right? That's all gone. When you're a VP, you work the most.
It was always the thing. Exactly. Like go into that high school was exactly that. It was like, go to this great school, then get into a great college, then do this. And I graduated in 2008 and the whole world collapsed. And then it's like, what was the last 4 years they're about? Right?
Did all the things, I was classic good girl. I went to the schools and got the things and I got the promotions. And I was like, actually, my life sucks. All I do is work and I don't feel respected. I don't feel fulfilled. So what is this for? And then I really thought, I am unhappy. And then as I was reading around, I was like, oh, like all moms are unhappy. There's this like huge trend, especially coming out of the pandemic when I started, of that sandwich generation where women, because we're having kids older, we're like peak work when we're peak mom and our parents are aging. So there's this vice grip of responsibility and it's too much. And there isn't like any infrastructure in our country to support families. And so it's tough. And that's really what I was just like, this is fucked up. And I want to do something positive to help. And oddly enough, I feel like just a happy little drink was my solution to a way I could contribute to like making people feel better, and not trying to turn to something that you're going to overdo and hurt yourself.
It's not often that we talk to somebody that that genuinely is really out to put some positive energy out into the world. And it's like, and we do that often where we get lost in the mix of it. And you were in the corporate churn, like just as any of us were. And it's one of those things where, when you step out of it and you can get out of that cycle, it's so scary. I got to be honest to everybody listening, watching. It's scary to leave that cycle because, like you said, there's comfort, there's benefits, there's every Thursday or Tuesday or whatever your day is on direct deposit. It's a guarantee of life. But when you get on the outside and you can be yourself to the public and be confident in that, the energy and the people, all of it does happen. It's not woo woo, and it's not like it's real. Like if you go out and you leave, and then you just miss it and you resent it and you put that negative part out, people aren't going to be attracted to work with you. And I think like that's a small piece I think that people don't realize is it's really how you view yourself is how people are going to come in.
Yeah.
And in corporate, it's easy because in corporate, you get to be a facade. And that's what I think the confusing part is. Because it's like, this is work Nate and this is home Nate. But when you go it on your own, you got to be both at the same time to the world.
And that's really vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the hardest parts for me stepping into a founder role. It's like, you are just played, right? Like you have to, and people tell you your baby's ugly and your idea is stupid and you're going to fail and cannabis is awful and I lost my shirt and fuck this. You're just like, oh, that's what it is. And I signed up for this, right? Man, do you develop a thicker skin. And it's a constant process for me. Like I keep stripping layers off as I'm trying to put myself out there. And so it's a really unique experience. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the mythology about founding a company is false, right? And that's something that I've learned through doing. But yeah, I think people are like, "Oh, you're a CEO now, like you're making the big bucks," and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I have no salary. I'm actually negative salary because I'm investing in this business, and that's not how."
No, it's I dealt with it a lot in the alcohol industry early on where people are like, "Oh, it's so easy. You guys just go around and party all the time." It's like, yeah, we do party every night, but we also work a regular day during the day, and then we go close the bars at 3, and then we're in the boardroom at 6. I was like, it's a little different than what you think. But when you go back to like where it is like for me, I grew up reading Entrepreneur Magazine, Inc. Magazine. I had the subscriptions. I would cut them out. I was obsessed. Like I was, and then when I got into it, I was like, it's not glorified at all. I said 90% of my life is being told no. And like you just said, literally 90% of my days is being told to fuck off or something obscene. And now people are just really just not, they don't care at all because they assume you're AI when you're on the phone or you're an email. So people are relentless now. And if you're right, if you don't have thick skin, I've been doing this for 17 years, but everything I do is manual. I don't do anything intentionally because I like the one-on-one contact and I intentionally want my business scaled at a certain weight. So I have my freedom in my life. So that's always been the goal. That's why it's called Free Mind is like,
right. I mean, that's what I enjoy the most about it. It's like, while I definitely work at least as much as I did, I have full agency over my schedule. And that's a really beautiful, valuable thing. And I've never and I get to be with my kids every morning. I get to pick them up from school and I get to do drop-offs and all this stuff. Like, it's great. It's constraining in that I have so much more I want to do, but it's my choice how I prioritize my time and make it all work. And that was not the case before.
That's exactly the other thing is everybody thinks that it's 20 hours a week and you got a bunch of teams, but it's really most of the time it's 80 hours a week, but it's honestly 80 hours of your choice.
And it's fun. What I have to do is so fun. Like I love the creative aspect and I love meeting with customers. I love events. I love doing samplings. That all gives me life. Like some stuff I do not love. And that,
you can leave the Excel files out of my joy part. Everything else you listed is I'm with you.
Yeah. And like you said, like the fundraising is tough.
Yeah.
But I can like some people are so great and it's so fun. And you just have to hold on to that. And like you said, attract good people that believe in your vision. And if that's not the right partner for you, and that's okay.
And that's it at the end of the day. And I would say it took me 15 of the 17 years to realize that what you just said. Is that because it was never okay for somebody. I needed, up until a couple of years ago, I needed all that validation and I needed all that. And I think like I could save people 15 years if they just lock into what you just said. Is if they don't want to be with you, it's okay. Like it's
part of that is aging too, though. And like something 20-year-old me would arrive here. I think it's different when because you've done your stuff. You're like, I know who I am and I know what my skill level is. Like, if it's not for you, that's great.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly. What walk me back to the moment where Hightail kind of came to you and give me geography and like paint the scene of like the light bulb moment and kind of what was going on in your life.
Yeah. So burnt out, traumatized Anna is here in LaGrange, Illinois, trying to like wrap my head around quitting with no job because I had it, right? And I was thinking about doing like a fractional CXO role because I've been a consultant before and I know a lot of people. So I'm reaching out to my favorite people that I've worked with throughout my career to say like, hey, we really had magic in a bottle. Like, how did that happen? And how can I recreate that? That's when I was happiest working. And so one of those people I reached out to is called Hank Casillas, and he was on the C-suite at CBS. He was my favorite client when I worked at Deloitte. We did really cool stuff together, and he was really hard on me, but very fair. He's great. I was like, I would love to work with someone like Hank again. And what's he up to? He's the CEO of Rolano, which is a cannabis dispensary group in California. And he's like, Anna, you've got to get into cannabis. It's like retail, but growing. You know, it's not owned by private equity. There's a lot of inroads you could make. And I was like, ironically, I was like, I'm not really a big weed person. So I don't know about that. And while he and I are chatting, this hemp dispensary group called Crown Town in the Carolinas come to us. And they're like, we want to make a hemp beverage. Can you help us? And I'm like, what's hemp? Is that a rope? This is back in 2024. And I just didn't, it wasn't on my radar. And so when I found out you could have drinkable, legal, low dose, THC in drinks, and that it could be at the grocery store, I was really hooked. And so I went and did just kind of like a market study of like, who are the competitors? What are the price points? What would the flavors be? What would it be called? Which is like my favorite thing. It's like the blank sheet of paper. So I had so much fun, and the word just poured out of me. And I think as it became Hightail, it became really mine, and everyone agreed that I should be the one to kind of run with it. And so that's how it happened. And I still have their support and to have them on the board and all that. But so it kind of became my baby in August of 2024. And we came out with products at the end of March of 2025. So we're still a little baby bird, right? We're only 10 months in, but I'm really proud of what we produced. I know the liquid's delicious and feels great. And I love the packaging, and we're really clear on who we're for. We want to own that reset moment, or that 5 p.m. where you just like, shit, I had already a long day and I have a whole night. You can take that breath just to like feel a little bit more centered and then go about your day.
So you guys are based in Illinois. What states are you currently in on the shelf? I know DTC, we can do a lot of stuff there.
Only in Illinois.
Okay. How is, what's the latest in New Jersey? I think we were back there. Did they switch it up again where it has to be in dispensary and stuff like that, or?
Not right now. Sell in liquor stores in New Jersey. So we like New Jersey because it's a competitive state. Like it being so new, I was afraid to make a mistake with the distributor, and I found Regal Wine Imports, who's really wonderful. And you don't have to sign your life away before you know what you're doing.
That's a valid thing. It's we're actually we're running. We just hired. We had a lobbyist, and we're running a campaign for Pennsylvania. We just have Senator Malagari wrote a bill for hemp beverage bill, and then yesterday Governor Shapiro in his budget review announced that he wants to legalize marijuana and all this other stuff yesterday. So we had a good windfall yesterday, and we're actually running the campaign and working with the lawmakers and things like that. And I'm super excited to see what we come out with and get it voted in here in June, because that has been the missing link here in Pennsylvania, where the only law that does exist is it can't sit in the same buildings as alcohol. And so I spent a lot of time in the past year in New Jersey, like doing surveys with the retail buyers in New Jersey and finding out like it's like 20 to 30% of their gross revenue in 2025. I mean, that was insane.
And that's still with very low customer awareness. So I think still my demographic is not at the party yet. While they are comprising a lot of current sales, most women in their 30s and 40s and 50s don't know that this exists yet. So I think that's the tip of the iceberg. That's where we get like huge sales dollars coming into the category, because they spend $18 billion annually on wine, billion with the B. So that's a lot of money.
So are you guys seeing, as far as the DTC then, if you're only in 2 states on the shelves, are you getting good buy from the other states as well on direct to consumer?
Yeah, really dispersed. So it kind of depends. Some of it's word of mouth. Some of it you can't really know, right? It's just like organic search from Google. But yeah, we want to serve anybody we legally can, and we're happy to ship to your door.
Well, speaking of people not needing to know what it looks like, I think the blur here, there we go. So we'll get that right up here. And I want to talk about the design first, and then I'm going to get to the recipe and everything like that, which, by the way, I've been screaming from the mountaintops before I reached out to you that nobody's making a tea in this industry. And then all of a sudden, and I do this blind. I want everybody to remember, I email people blind. I don't research you. I do it intentionally. So this is an organic conversation. So when that sample landed on my door, I literally yelled out, thank God somebody's finally doing the tea in here. So, so first off, for the packaging, I love what you did. And a lot of people want to tell stories and they want to do all this graphic design, but you went right to the point and kind of talk about what the intention was behind the can design, as well as the 4-pack design. And I'm going to nerd out with you on the cardboard topper, which is kudos to you on the cardboard topper.
Thank you. Yeah, we really wanted to look premium. The reason I named it Hightail is because I wanted to create a new category. And I know that sounds a little bit annoying, but as you said, there's a million like seltzers with weed in them. And that's not what I wanted as a consumer. And even in like retail, when you go to the THC section, I don't really see myself as that. So I think that's a hurdle we have to bridge. So for me, I was like, it's not a cocktail. It's not a mocktail. What is it? Oh, it's a Hightail. And so that's what we're all about. And that's where the dictionary definition came in, is that we're trying to introduce it and destigmatize it and de-risk it for new and nascent users or people that just don't want to get, super affected for whatever reason. And so that was the imagery behind the packaging. We also analyzed, current shelves. And it's a little Jimmy Buffett concert-ish, right? Like there's a lot of teal and orange and red, and it's bright and it's fun. But together, it's just kind of a wall of chaos. And so I really wanted to be almost monochromatic and like sort of digital. We wanted a little Art Deco in there for whatever reason. We were just feeling very like minimalist 1920s. And that's where we got the little wave too, on the side of the can, which is supposed to signify just the tiny little boost that we give you with that small 1.5 milligrams of THC and the 3 milligrams of CBG.
And all your ingredients. I mean, talk a little bit about you're not using cheap ingredients either.
No, again, I wanted to stand for premium. So we have no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. I'm using the highest quality emulsion that I could find, which is from Fertosa, which we have both for the THC and for the CBG. And then everything is as close to pure as we could get it. So there's really just water, there's fresh juices, natural colors and flavorings, and organic cane sugar. That's it. To me, healthy is clean.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. Some people have no sugar, and that's fine, but I don't like the chemicals that make that happen. And so I'm betting that my customer doesn't like that either.
I agree with you completely. It's one of those things that there's a balance to everything. And I think that's the key of like what it is like, it's like, okay, let's just like, it's like the ones where, I laugh at some people in the alcohol industry when they'll be like, oh, it's a healthy alternative to vodka. It's like, but it's still vodka. You know what I mean? Like, or it's like, but you're still like, or, you know what I mean? Or it's like, let's not like pretend something isn't what it is. Like, let's just own what we are and find our niches. And I really, it's a great subcategory that you're creating within the adult beverage and within there. And like, if you look at T numbers across the country in other categories, this is a home run. And I've always felt that everybody chased the seltzer thing because it was popular. And I feel like it ended up oversaturating that. And there's a real opportunity for the rest of the traditional beverages to come into play. Some more high quality mocktails, teas, like you're talking about, things like that.
Yeah. And I think there's so much carbonation that often all I can taste is carbonic acid. Right. And so because I'm all natural and because I didn't want that super carbonic taste, we're low to no carbonation, which I think is like scandalous to sound. But once
it was a great surprise when I took my first sip.
Yeah, because you can get that literally anywhere. And some people, like in summer, they'll take a raspberry basil lemonade and they'll pop some Topo Chico in there. And lo and behold, you have a sparkler, right? If you want that. But you don't have to. And I really wanted to bring some elegance and complexity to the flavor profiles. Like I said, because I'm a wine drinker, I want it to take me on a journey. I don't want one note. We tested everything we could with carbonation, and we couldn't achieve the depth of flavor while being very carbonated. Plus, you have to add chemicals as you bottle to get rid of any intrusions and make sure it's shelf stable, if you're carbonated. So I was able to not do that. No additional preservatives by using tunnel pasteurization and being the lower carbonation.
How many different flavors do you, I don't have the website in front of me. How many different flavor recipes do you currently have? Yeah.
So I have 3 different flavors. We have the cocoa pomegranate yuzu, which is my favorite. I call it a lovable weirdo.
That's the one I have right now. It is a very, I'm going to say this word for anybody that's asking. At first, I'll be very honest. I was like cocoa, pomegranate, yuzu. And I cringed up a little bit in the sense that I was like, that is so unique, but I wasn't turned off in a negative way. I get like that when I'm like, we're stacking too many things at once. But when I took that sip, the balance that you have to it was so awesome. And I went into it with that confusion mindset, but it was so delicious.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. I think people are like, why the yuzu? But if it's just cocoa pomegranate, it's too sweet and it's not delicious for 12 ounces. You know what I mean? And then you add the yuzu, it's very subtle, but it really grounds it and it brings depth and it changes as you drink it. So that one to me is the most like wine because it sort of takes you on a flavor journey where you start a little cocoa, you are in the middle, it's pretty juicy pomegranate, and then the end you get a little citrus, which I think is so lovely. So that's my favorite. Our best seller is the strawberry hibiscus tea. So that's real black tea, like you said. And it's just delicious. Like you get a little bit of the floral from the strawberry, from the hibiscus. And then it's such a real strawberry flavor. Really, like I used a flavor house called Simrise. And I was bowled over flavor to achieve when I first tasted the strawberry. They give you like 4 different kinds. And I was like, I feel like I bit into a real strawberry. It's so delicious. It's tart, it's sweet, it's bright. It has all of the intricacies that you would expect from real fruit. I mean, they gave me some that was like a Jolly Rancher and I hated it. Like this second I tasted it, I was like, yes. And then last we have that raspberry basil lemonade. So I was looking for like a nostalgia play that wasn't too childlike. And so that's why we added the basil. So that has some pepperiness and brings sort of an herbaceous cocktail feel as you drink that one. So that's perfect for a porch.
And that's where you're with your recipes, with the complexities in which you did them. They're not flavored teas. And I want to make sure everybody understands that. These aren't peach tea and lemon tea. This is more like a tea-based cocktail is the way I would really describe it.
Yeah.
Because
and there's only actual tea in the strawberry hibiscus tea. So what you're drinking there is no tea.
Okay, got you.
That's why it's a hightail. It's like a mocktail, but there's nothing about it.
So okay, so that's that. When you said tea and I took that sip, I was like, I think that is even more complimentary to you. If that's just water based on top of the different flavoring. Yeah,
cocoa they have is so delicious. It's very Anna. It's a beautiful flavor profile, and it coats the mouth. I put mouthfeel in all of them too. It was important to me that it doesn't drink like water. So the mouthfeel, to me, when I have that one, I feel as though I've bitten into a piece of dark chocolate and it coats the entire mouth. And I think that's beautiful.
The last piece I'll talk about with the recipe is it's something I compliment you on when you say the customer journey. There's 2 paths to that. One is you have a progression of products, but I see what you're doing though. Is I took that other sip. You actually. The cocoa's on the front end, but it's gone on the other end. You actually do this flavor reversal while it's being consumed in your mouth.
Yeah, just like a glass of wine, right? It opens up as you enjoy it, and it's different. Your first sip is different than your second. It's different than your 10th, and that's why it's so delicious to me. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to try to achieve with Hightail.
Well, success.
Thank you.
I'm serious. Like that is, I love complicated recipes, but I love it more when they're done, when they come out right.
We tried to use a heavy dose of restraint. It's supposed to be elegant, not like punch you in the face.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So balanced. Well, let's talk a little bit about so coming out of the corporate world and into this brand. All right. I'll speak on my opinion. We have a lot of brands that are out there that are just running around like chickens with their head cut off and trying to figure out what to do. And we got distributors in 17 states, but we don't have any representation in the market and all this other stuff. How did your corporate career transcend itself into your startup mentality? And what do you carry forward from those lessons?
That's a great question. I do think discipline and financial focus and analytics is a huge piece. So I'm a strategy person. So
that's what I'm getting to. Yeah.
I don't just go, right? I plan and then I go. So we want to go slow to go fast. We want to conserve capital. It's really rough out there to raise money. Especially, there's regulatory risk, and then, Vice is its own thing. A lot of people won't invest in that. And then, and. So wanted to be very thoughtful and surgical with any investment that we put in, that we're going to get a good return on it, and that we're going to be ensuring that we survive any downturns and whatever happens, because it's going to be bumpy, right? We knew we were going into a gray area category, and then it's, that's not without risk. So yeah, we wanted to focus on the two markets. Like I said, I like New Jersey because it gives me flexibility. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. I'm not in it for like 4 years and I've signed it in blood kind of thing. And then I want to do here in Chicago because I'm here and I really want to support with local. I want to be at events. I want to do tastings. I want to like talk to consumers. That's my favorite part. And I love to get real feedback because I'm very open to adapting the brand to what consumers need it to be. It's fun.
Have you, what's the funniest thing that like a consumer feedback where they just missed the mark completely so far? Like what's like, because I do a lot of tastings and stuff like that still, and it's funny.
It really depends on like your framework. So for cannabis people, the funniest thing to me is people are like, what's THC? And they're like, and then I'll tell them like one of Hightail's selling points is that there's no CBD in it. So no shade to CBD, but because our occasion is the reset moment at 5 o'clock, you're going to feel so fucking tired if you take CBD at 5 o'clock. It makes me like, I feel relaxed, but I'm just groggy and I don't want that. Right. So after I have done my spiel and I talk about CBD and why it's in there rather than CBD, they'll be like, so how much CBD is it again? And it's alphabet soup. I get it. I don't fault consumers about that. Also, it's very funny to me where sometimes people are like, well, I don't do drugs. I'm like, oh, great, me either. This is just like a little drink. I mean, there is THC in it, but it's legal. And they're like, okay. And then they'll take a sip and then they'll go buy it from the bar. So that makes me laugh too. It's like, well, that was a very low resistance threshold.
It's always, sometimes I get the people that'll come up and be like, I don't like an altered state of mind. And then I'll be like, have you been to Starbucks lately? Did you try the new? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, it's the same thing.
Caffeine is also a drug. Yes.
And then they go, okay. And then you kind of break it down a little bit more. It's that. And also we work in the functional mushroom space and the wellness space with beverages there. And that's a whole nother thing too, where like it's getting past like people thinking there's chunks of mushrooms inside of it. And it's like a mushroom smoothie and like all these. And then they're like, oh, it's psychoactive. And you have to explain to them it's all the same chemical compounds that are in the pills that are available in the pharmacy. And I think that this conversation is interesting too, because yesterday I was in an episode where we talked about the need of mass education for the industry as a whole. And that's how expensive that is, and how like it's kind of a cart before the horse, because you can't really do a capital expense on the education until you have real funding. And that's not something that's able to happen yet. So it's like, I try to explain to people, like, it's the similar thing for my life of being in the craft beer industry, managing brands from 2008 to 2017 is exactly what's going on right now. But it's not even, it's hitting at these monumental volumes and impact, but it's not even properly funded. And I try to explain to people, if it was descheduled and it was actually done to be able to be funded, it would be bigger sometime in some markets than the craft beer boom of the early 2010s and stuff.
Totally. Yeah, now that you bring up function, I think I was remiss because I forgot to mention that I launched a functional. So I had Hightail Halo. I'll show you.
I love that name. Very cool.
It has, it's innocent. And there's no cannabinoids in here at all. And instead, it's my sparkling strawberry hibiscus tea flavor with L-theanine and B12. So again, we're trying to bring that lighthearted lift that you get a little energy boost and then you can focus and get a little relaxation in too. So it's the same type of vibe, but we wanted to provide something for customers who aren't ready for cannabinoids, or they want to do it earlier in the day. And so I look at this as like my 2 p.m. coffee rather than doing that and not being able to sleep.
Exactly.
I tell you, and then I feel great.
I'm excited at all these different functional beverages because I've been a couple years in on now every day. L-theanine, ashwagandha, lion's mane. I do a whole kind of supplement cocktail.
Yeah.
I'm not a big pill guy. Like honestly, it's just like they're always horse pills, and I don't like gummies in that sense because they stick to my teeth first thing in the morning and yada yada. And so it's really nice to see these brands come. I really get excited personally to see these functional beverage brands come out as well.
I have to say, I was a skeptic. Because I was like, does this work? Do you even feel anything? Because I think the cannabinoids are an easier sell. You're going to feel something. And I've been so pleasantly surprised. with Halo, like I've been dragging ass and been like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the day, and I'll have one. And I'm like, I just feel good. I feel like myself, but I am not exhausted. Like it really does help. And the L-theanine is, it really does. Relaxed. It works.
I'm 2 years in on it, and I tell a lot of people that it's like one of those things, but it's one of those things that I think people try it and then they're like, oh, it doesn't work. But I tell people that it took about 60 to 90 days of consistent daily use to really feel it. And I think a lot of people peter out after a week or two and stuff like that, or they want that. They feel like it's like smoking a joint or whatever else where you're going to get that instant thing. Where really, I think it's compounds over a period of routine and consistency.
I've just started flirting with it, and it really helps.
Yeah.
And especially because I have a kiddo with ADHD, and he was subscribed to L-theanine to help him sleep. And I was like, cool. I have, I'm taking it during the day. He's taking it at night. It's kind of, I believe if it's being prescribed by doctors, that there's some real efficacy there.
It completely is, and my own child has the same thing and the same benefits as well. So as well as myself, I was diagnosed a couple of years ago, autistic and ADHD. I guess they call it AUHD now. So explains a lot about my life looking back, but now I get to figure it out. And that was immediately why I started the supplements on a daily regimen because of that diagnosis. So, and for my anecdotal thing, I'm not telling anybody any health benefits or anything like that, but for me, it worked, and it worked overnight in the sense of like getting that routine through. And then again, month 1, month 2 began the compound effectiveness.
That's amazing. I think if we cannot use heavy pharmaceuticals, we can manage things like sleep and pain, stress, all those things in a more natural way. I think there's such a huge desire for that across the consumer base.
Completely. Yeah, it's one of those. It's the big thing of some of the joys and freedoms that we have here that make me cringe when we see the different governments trying to tell us how to do things and things like that. And it's one of those things that we should have access to those things that make our lives feel better for us, because medicine and healthcare is not a broad stroking universal thing. Yes, it is from a function and process and system standpoint, but the actual treatments are really one-on-one. And so every person can create their own journey to kind of get through their life that works for them. And I think having the proper tools allows people to customize their journeys as well, for sure.
That's right. And different doctors feel differently, right? Like I have some that are like a DO, and they do some hippie shit, and I'm here for it. Like, let's go. Oh, like I definitely, if I have cancer, I'm going to the oncologist, But I think why not? Like, why not also experiment with natural alternatives and see if that does something for you? I think also to your earlier point, I'm so excited for thoughtful regulation because we should have everything tested by the FDA. We have to keep consumers safe. The weird fake M&Ms at the gas station with 100 milligrams of THC, that's messed up, and that could really hurt somebody, and we don't know what's in there. Like, that sucks. So I get so frustrated because I'm like, regulation will be the best thing for us as long as it's thoughtful. So please test my shit with the FDA. I'm ready. I did all my COAs. Like I have high confidence that this is a very consumer safe product, that we've done everything we possibly can to be by the book. So I think letting the good actors fly, because we are doing the right thing while getting rid of the nonsense, is going to be really good for us. And that's the job of government. It's like, keep us safe, but let it.
Yeah. Build the regulations in the pathway, but don't keep the door closed is my biggest thing all the time.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Well, in closing, I want to thank you for taking the time today. And I want to tell you that I'm going to have you back on another one probably if you want to. So I'd love to. What I want to do. What's that?
I had a really good time chatting with you.
I did too. I want to do these roundtables this year where we do like a little period where we bring like 1 or 2 founders in and kind of choose topics ahead of time, and then I'll kind of moderate and let an organic conversation happen as well. So I'll keep you posted on those. We'll do a low dose versus high dose, and we'll have a little battle royale or something like that. We'll figure it out. But I want to publicly thank you for coming on the show, because it's a crazy world we live in, and it's one of those things that there's not a lot of trust in this world in a lot of different aspects of things. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean this in the spot that you have the courage, and you came on the show with no prep. We've never met each other before. I gave you no questions in advance, and you trusted me to tell your story and give you a platform for your story. And I want to thank you for that. And it's something that is unique. because while I joke about getting rejected, there's a lot of responses that I get with my podcast outreach where they're like, all right, send me the questions. And I'm like, there's no questions. And then the temperature rises. So, that does upset people and it makes people uncomfortable. And I want to thank you in the sense that you're unique. And you have the courage and the chutzpah. And that's a very good testament to what you're running in your business as well. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. That's kind of it. No, I'm an open book and I love chatting about this. I want to get the story out and I'm happy to talk with anybody, any customers, anybody.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, I'll close out with just a reminder to our audience. There is no script. There is no agenda. This was Strangers Connecting. I just met her an hour ago, and this is how you connect with people. So as you're out in the world, if you're listening or you're watching, when you're walking on the sidewalk, look a stranger in the eye, hold a door for a stranger, ask somebody how they're doing, and actually pause to hear and give a shit about what they say to you in response to that. So the world is a crazy, beautiful, and destructive place. And we all need to be out there realizing that there's more that we have together than there is separate. So, Anna, thank you again very much on the show today. And thank you for telling your story.
Thank you for having me. That was beautiful. I think what you said is so powerful. And I think that's the key to happiness is like a cohesive society. Right? So yeah, smile and smile and wave and engage with your community. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, hey, you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be in touch with the after post production.
Thank you, Nate. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks a lot. You take care.
You too. Bye.